Okay, this is one of those, I'm not quite sure where to start, but this is the last time I did anything on this. I did pour a small coat. It ran through. You'll see that. It did end up running through, even through the tape, but otherwise it's getting pretty well sealed up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the tape and then just kind of take a look at what I've got. This is kind of turning out to be a what not to do. Whatever you do, you don't want to get that blue tape in the wrong spot. So I don't know if a sander will work. I'll start. All I can really do is just start from one surface at a time. And this one is going to be seen more than most because this one will actually face the room. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. Okay, I think that'll come out. I took it down to not totally the bare wood. This edge looks good on here. It's terrible underneath, but I'll deal with that. Now I've got this edge to contend with, which has the tape on it. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, I got all the tape off of that edge. All the tape off of that, other than I think I have to poke in there a little bit. I have to poke in there a little bit. All right, haven't used one of these for a while, but set it as low as it can go. Remember, it's plastic, so supposedly it's not going to do anything to this. It's old. All right, so I've got that as far as I want it, because that way I don't see any blue through there anymore, but yet there will be some that'll hold that in place, and then I'm going to have to tape that again. Anyways, this is getting to be pretty much a pain, but I'll just be a little more careful. Oh, I got a hole here too yet on the other side. I got some blue. I'll get rid of. All right, that's as good as it's going to get for what I'm doing. I'll clean it up with some acetone. That'll be it. Okay, the idea of this pour is to get it was just a little one, I had some left, is to get it into these deeper crevices that had leaked before. I see I have a mosquito here, and I think I've got that guy covered. It's a little deeper than you should pour, but as long as I got that baby taped, it's not going to leak anymore, then I should be okay to get the surface that I'm looking for. I've got a deep cavity here. Again, there's going to be coffee cups, stuff like that on here. So I don't want too much tippiness. So I wanted to get some of it inside there, because that is actually becoming part of my joinery. Now the rest of it is just going to have to overflow over the edge. And I'm going to brush it. And I do want to get this, you know, when you do a coat of this stuff, you can't really do like a part of one in one area. And then you have to do the whole thing so it flows together and it becomes one. And so that's why I'm putting some more on the rest of it. And then we're just going to hope for the best. And again, I'm going to let it overflow the edges and then just constantly brush it. Okay, so it's been about a half an hour, and what I'm gradually doing is removing this tape very gradually. I wish I had a tweezers, but I don't, but I'm basically pulling it and I'm seeing if it's still going to flow. Now that's a pretty thick spot right there, and so there's just a little bit of flowing going on, but otherwise I've been able to brush from underneath towards the front, and I think I'm going to have a fairly smooth bottom. And then hopefully at some point I can actually move these over, like, well, I'll just do it now, right? And then that way I don't have a buildup in any one particular spot. I'm gradually removing that tape and just kind of watching to see as I pull it away if it's flowing or not. If it's not, then I move it a little further. And that way hopefully I don't have to deal with trying to get that tape off there again. So that's where we're at after about maybe about 45 minutes. Okay, so again, I didn't want this touching that right at the edge, because then it's going to leave a ridge. So what I did is I took a thin piece, I just lifted that up, lifted the whole thing up, slid that underneath. So basically, I've got one right about here underneath, one here, and one here. And then that way, this whole edge is basically free to drip. I wished I would have gone up a little higher, but at the same time, that's much better than it touching. And so it's going to be easier just to keep that cleaned up. Other than that, I think this is pretty much it for the night. I'm going to stop back a little later, try to pull this off, but if you look, I can still see some dripping there on the paper, so it still got some, what do you want to call it, you know, flowing going on. And so if I remove this, I know she'd pop loose. I don't want to do that yet. All right, so I was able to remove the blue tape completely from there, and there's a little bit still kind of slowly flowing out, but very, very slow. And then I'm just taking the brush and kind of brushing it back up, and it's even then it's hardly moving. So that's pretty much done. But this one is still too thick. I tried moving the tape and the stuff started to ooze. So I'm going to let that one go and hope for the best.